Good morning and welcome to Modern Dialogues. Today, we are tackling a question that sits at the heart of our rapidly evolving society. In an age where information is abundant and freely accessible online, is a formal, structured education still necessary? This isn't just a theoretical question. It affects career paths, economic structures, and the very way we define knowledge. To help us explore this complex topic, I am joined by two distinguished guests with very different perspectives. On my right, we have Dr. Ben Carter, a professor of curriculum development at Northwood University with over 2 decades of experience. He is a firm believer in the foundational power of formal education. Welcome, Dr. Carter.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here.
And on my left, Chloe Davis, a highly successful tech entrepreneur and consultant. She champions the agility and relevance of skills-based, self-directed learning in the digital age. Welcome, Chloe.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm excited for this discussion.
We'll begin with opening statements. Dr. Carter, let's start with you. You have the floor.
Thank you. The central argument I wish to make is that we are confusing the availability of information with the development of wisdom. Formal education's primary role has never been just to transmit facts. A library could do that. Its purpose is to build the essential framework for critical thinking, a structure that allows an individual to navigate the overwhelming sea of data we face daily. A well-designed curriculum does more than present information. It teaches students how to think. It cultivates discipline, analytical skills, and the crucial ability to distinguish credible, evidence-based arguments from misinformation and noise. In the age of fake news and algorithm-driven content, this skill is not just useful. It is fundamental to a functioning democracy and a successful career. Furthermore, we cannot underestimate the role of educational institutions as social laboratories. In a classroom, students learn far more than the subject matter. They learn empathy by debating with peers who hold different views. They learn teamwork and conflict resolution through group projects. These nuanced human interactions, the reading of body language, the art of persuasion, cannot be fully replicated in online forums or chat rooms. Finally, let's talk about credibility and equity. Accredited institutions provide a standardized, reliable benchmark of competence that employers and society can trust. For many, formal education is the most powerful engine for social mobility, offering a clear, structured pathway to opportunities that might otherwise remain inaccessible. It remains a great equalizer in a world that is often anything but. To dismiss this tested system in favor of a fragmented, unverified digital landscape would be a grave mistake. We would be sacrificing the very architecture of intellect for a pile of bricks.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. A strong opening. Chloe, your response?
Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Ben, for laying out the traditional view so clearly. However, I believe that this traditional model is becoming a relic of a bygone era. It is, to put it bluntly, too slow, too expensive, and far too rigid for the dynamic demands of the modern world. Let's start with accessibility. The cost of a university degree has become astronomical, placing it out of reach for millions and burdening graduates with crippling debt. Compare that to the vast world of online learning, where high-quality courses from top institutions and industry experts are available for a fraction of the cost, or sometimes even for free. Geographic location is no longer a barrier. Ambition and an internet connection are all you need. This brings me to relevance. Formal curricula can take years to update. By the time a textbook is published, the information, especially in the tech sector, is often obsolete. Online platforms, in contrast, can adapt their content in real time to reflect the latest industry trends and technological advancements. Students can learn skills today that are immediately applicable in the job market tomorrow. Moreover, the one-size-fits-all approach of traditional education is profoundly inefficient. Why should a future graphic designer be forced to spend 2 years studying subjects that have no bearing on their chosen career? Self-directed learning allows individuals to personalize their education, focusing intensely on the specific skills they need at a pace that suits them. It respects the learner's time and ambition. Finally, the nature of credibility is changing. Dr. Carter mentioned credentials, but today's most innovative companies are looking beyond degrees. They want to see what you can do. A compelling portfolio of completed projects, a collection of specific skill certifications from respected online platforms, and a demonstrated ability to learn and adapt are rapidly becoming the new, more valuable credentials. The future isn't about where you learned, it's about what you know and what you can create.
Thank you both for those compelling arguments. Let's dig into some of these points. Ben, I'll direct the first question to you. Chloe argues forcefully that formal education is too slow to adapt to a world in constant flux. How can a system built on centuries-old foundations effectively prepare students for jobs and technologies that don't even exist yet?
That's an excellent and critical question, Sarah. My response is to focus on the concept of durable skills versus perishable skills. While a specific coding language might become obsolete in a few years, a perishable skill, the ability to think logically, to construct a coherent argument, to write clearly, and to analyze complex problems are durable skills. They are timeless. Formal education, at its best, prioritizes these foundational competencies. It teaches students how to learn, how to deconstruct problems, and how to approach new subjects with a disciplined mind. Therefore, a student who has mastered the durable skill of analytical reasoning can adapt to any new technology or job role far more effectively than someone who has only learned a narrow, perishable skill. We are not just training for the next job. We are educating for a lifetime of change.
Chloe, what's your reaction to that? Is the focus on durable skills enough?
With all due respect to the importance of foundational knowledge, I find that argument to be somewhat disconnected from the reality of the modern job market. An employer with an urgent need for a Python developer or a digital marketing specialist cannot afford to wait for a graduate with durable skills to spend 6 months learning the required perishable skills on the job. They need people who can contribute from day one. The beauty of online self-directed learning is that it addresses both. An individual can acquire those durable skills. Many excellent online courses teach critical thinking while also gaining the specific, high-demand technical skills that make them immediately employable. It's not an either-or proposition. The modern approach is simply more efficient at delivering both.
An interesting counterpoint. Let me turn to you, Chloe. Ben raised a significant point in his opening about socialization. In a world where mental health and loneliness are growing concerns, aren't we risking a generation with underdeveloped social and emotional intelligence if learning becomes a predominantly isolated, individual activity conducted in front of a screen?
That's a common and understandable concern, but I believe it's based on an outdated view of what socialization means in the 21st century. The most critical form of collaboration today happens digitally. Learning to work effectively in a remote team, using tools like Slack, Asana, or Microsoft Teams, and contributing to global projects online are the new essential social skills for the workplace. Online learning platforms are increasingly incorporating these collaborative elements. Students work on group projects with peers from around the world, engaging in peer review processes and building digital communities. This isn't a lesser form of socialization. It's a different and arguably more relevant form of it for the future of work.
Ben, does that convince you?
I acknowledge the importance of digital literacy, and Chloe is right that digital collaboration is a key skill. However, I must maintain that it is not a substitute for face-to-face interaction. So much of human communication is nonverbal. Understanding sarcasm, reading the mood of a room, developing genuine empathy, and resolving delicate interpersonal conflicts. These are skills honed through direct, physical presence with other human beings. An emoji is not a substitute for a compassionate facial expression. A delayed text message does not carry the same weight as a difficult, real-time conversation. We risk creating a generation that is technically proficient, but emotionally stunted, unable to navigate the complex, unquantifiable nuances of human relationships, which are still the bedrock of any successful enterprise or community.
This leads us to a crucial final point in this section, the issue of quality and equity. Let's talk about the digital divide. Without the rigorous standardized stamp of approval from a formal institution, how can employers or students trust the quality of the thousands of online courses available? And Chloe, doesn't a system that relies on self-discipline inherently disadvantage those who lack the resources, like high-speed internet, or the structured support system to effectively manage their own learning?
Those are two very important questions. On quality control, the digital world has its own powerful, decentralized verification system, reputation, and results. Platforms like Coursera or edX have their own brand integrity to protect. Individual courses are subject to thousands of user reviews and ratings. But most importantly, as I mentioned, the proof is in the portfolio. A well-executed project is a far more honest signal of competence than a letter grade on a transcript. Regarding the digital divide and self-discipline, I see it differently. The discipline required for self-directed learning isn't a barrier. It's one of the most critical skills the modern world demands. Learning how to manage your own time, set goals, and stay motivated is, in itself, a core part of the curriculum. While we must absolutely work to close the digital access gap, we shouldn't use it as an excuse to cling to a system that fosters dependency rather than autonomy.
Ben, your final thoughts on this issue of quality and structure?
The idea of quality control through user reviews is, frankly, alarming when applied to education. We don't choose surgeons based on Yelp reviews, and we shouldn't build our intellectual foundations on them either. Formal accreditation is a rigorous, peer-reviewed process that serves as a vital safeguard for quality, standards, and intellectual honesty. It protects students from fraud and ensures a level of consistency that a reputation-based system cannot guarantee. And while self-discipline is a virtue, it is not one that everyone possesses equally from the start. Formal education provides the necessary structure, the scaffolding, that supports students as they develop that discipline. It provides teachers who can inspire, counselors who can guide, and a community that can support those who might struggle in a purely self-directed environment. To remove that support structure would be to abandon a huge segment of the population.
We are nearing the end of our time. I'd like to give you both a minute to provide a closing statement. Chloe, let's begin with you.
Thank you. I want to be clear that this debate shouldn't be about the complete elimination of formal education, but about breaking its monopoly on what we consider valid learning. The future, and indeed the present, is about creating a flexible, hybrid ecosystem of knowledge. It's a world where a university degree can be complemented by a coding bootcamp, where a mid-career professional can pivot by earning online certifications, and where lifelong learning is a continuous, self-directed journey. The key is not to choose one rigid system over another, but to embrace agility, personalization, and continuous adaptation. The old model demands that you fit your life around education. The new model allows you to fit education around your life. That is the true path to progress and empowerment.
Thank you, Chloe. Dr. Carter, your final thoughts?
I would argue that in the face of the digital age's speed and chaos, the structure, discipline, and reliability of formal education are more critical than ever before. It is not a monopoly, it is an anchor. It provides the essential foundation of critical thinking that prevents us from being swept away by every new trend or piece of misinformation. It offers a reliable, equitable system of verification that allows our society to function with a degree of trust. While we should certainly integrate new tools and adapt, we must not discard the institution that has been the primary engine of intellectual and social progress for centuries. Formal education is the bedrock upon which all other learning, including the digital kind Chloe champions, is successfully built.
Thank you, Dr. Ben Carter and Chloe Davis, for a truly insightful and spirited debate. You've given us a great deal to consider. It seems the ultimate answer may not lie in choosing one path exclusively over the other, but in understanding how the foundational strengths of formal education and the adaptive agility of digital learning can coexist and complement one another. The challenge for all of us is to build a future that creates well-rounded, critical, and adaptable individuals.